Okay, so you ever wonder who makes those little rubber bands holding your broccoli together?
Or like tires, those giant bouncy balls,
Yeah,
everyday stuff.
exactly. But someone's got to make them. And that's where today's deep dive takes us.
Yeah.
The world of rubber product machine operators.
A hidden world, kinda, but crucial. Can't imagine life without rubber, and it's these skilled operators making it all happen.
Totally. I'm a little embarrassed to admit I never really thought about how a rubber band gets made let alone something as complex as a tire.
Right.
So, to get into it, we're using this resource called RoleCatcher. They've got thousands of these in-depth career guides, and luckily for us, one's all about rubber product machine operators.
And it's really detailed, not just like, oh, they work in a factory. It breaks down the whole thing, how they use natural and synthetic rubber, the actual machines.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What do we talk? Giant vats of rubber and these people in, like, hazmat suits.
Well, the safety gear part, you're not wrong. The guide's big on that. What with the heat, noise, chemicals, it's serious stuff. But it's not all, mad scientist vibes.
So what does a typical day look like for them?
They're running these complex machines, monitoring the whole production process, raw materials to finished product, the whole 9 yards. It's demanding, got to be on your toes, mentally and physically.
Yeah, I can imagine. You'd need to be super sharp to handle all that.
Totally. The guide stresses knowing how rubber works under different conditions, troubleshooting problems, like they might need to tweak the machine settings on the fly depending on the rubber they're using.
Wow, so it's not just pushing buttons. You really need to understand the materials, the machines, the whole process.
Exactly. And it's not just about keeping things running smoothly either.
There's more.
Oh yeah, they're also on the front lines of quality control, making sure those tires are durable, those hoses won't leak. They got to catch defects, make sure everything meets the standards.
That's a lot of responsibility.
Big time.
So it's not just brawn. It's about having a keen eye, taking pride in your work. Makes you think, what's it like for someone considering this as a career? The guide must talk about that, right?
Oh, yeah, it does. It actually lays out some pretty sweet perks. Like, ever think about job security?
Right. Everyone wants that.
Well, people are always going to need stuff made of rubber, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's not going anywhere.
Exactly. Steady income, that's a big deal. Plus, there's room to grow, like
Yeah.
moving up to supervise, specialize in certain types of rubber, even training new operators.
So you could start on the line and end up, managing a whole team? Or becoming like the rubber whisperer.
Yeah.
This guy knows everything about, I don't know, tractor tires versus car tires.
Yeah, totally. The guide even mentioned lacquer maker as a potential path. I thought that was interesting.
Lacquer maker, hold on, how's that related?
So apparently they apply protective coatings to rubber products. So there's overlap in the materials, some of the processes. It also mentions CNC machine operators, which when you think about the precision involved in both roles, it makes sense.
That's really cool. So the skills you pick up as a rubber products machine operator, they could open doors to other fields too.
For sure. It's not a dead end. More like, a springboard if you're willing to learn, keep up with things.
Okay, that's a tempting pro list, gotta say.
Mhm.
But what about the downsides? What does the guide say about let's call it the not so glamorous side of things?
Well, it's pretty upfront about the physical stuff. You're on your feet a lot, could be hot, noisy. Some of the tasks are repetitive, which wouldn't be for everyone. Plus, chemicals, machinery, all that. Hence the safety gear.
Yeah, safety first, for sure. Those are definitely things to consider. But you know what's been on my mind? Automation. Everyone's talking about robots and AI changing everything. Is this one of those fields where technology is going to start pushing out human workers? Because that's got to be a concern for someone thinking long term, right? Yeah, it's a big question these days, isn't it? What did RoleCatcher say about that whole thing?
Well, they actually had like a whole section on it, the impact of tech,
Okay, so they're not shying away from it.
Right. Not at all. They admit, yeah, automation's changing how it's all done. Robots, computer controls, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But they don't think it's like game over for human workers. They actually see it as, get this, creating opportunities.
Hold on, really? How so?
Well, think someone's got to program those robots, right? Calibrate the controls, fix them when they go haywire, which, let's be real.
Things break.
Exactly. And that's where humans come in. It becomes less about like feeding material into a machine and more about overseeing the whole thing, making sure it's running right, adapting when things change.
So more brain power, less muscle.
Exactly. The guide even uses the term upskilling. Like the operators who learn the new tech, who can combine that with what they already know, those are the ones who will really thrive.
So instead of being replaced by the robots, you got to become the robot. Like what, supervisor?
There you go. And RoleCatcher actually lists some of the skills that'll be super important. Working with digital interfaces, maybe a bit of programming, even data analysis for quality control. It's next level.
So there's a future there, as long as you're willing to, what, move with the times, learn the new stuff.
100%.
That's actually, I don't know, kind of reassuring in a weird way.
Mhm.
This has been a fascinating deep dive, seriously. Any parting words for our listeners out there thinking about this whole rubber product machine operator path?
I think what gets me is we use rubber products every day, right? But we don't really think about them. Someone's got to make them, though, and that's someone. They're becoming more and more skilled, more tech savvy. It's a field that's changing, just like, well, rubber itself. So, yeah, if you like working with your hands, you're a bit of a problem solver, not afraid of technology, could be a great fit. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one programming the robots that make those rubber bands.
Love it. It's a career that's both like down to earth, making stuff, but also riding the waves of all this new tech.
Hmm.
Now, here's something for everyone to chew on. We're using more recycled rubber these days, right? For
Yeah.
sustainability and all that. How's that going to change things for rubber product machine operators?
Hmm.
So something to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.